Okay, we're going to just zoom through this real quick so we can get to judging. Here's our special requirements for bars. You have to have 2 bar changes, 2 flight elements. There has to be 2 different C's or a D and a B. 1 element with an LA turn, at least a C. Can't be in the mount or the dismount, and a C dismount. And if there's a C dismount immediately preceded by 2 A's or B's, then it's 1/10 off the start value rather than 2. There's some flat 05 deductions for lack of variety and choice, insufficient distribution. There's flat 1/10 deductions for more than 1 squat on, uncharacteristic element, or a 3/4 circle, blah, blah. You know that one. Up to the competitive level, this is one of the important ones. It's a flat 1/10 deduction if they don't have 2 parts. The first part is a single bar D release, or an E, or 2 D releases, or 2 E level skills. And they have to have a D dismount or a C dismount in bonus combination. Just a reminder that insufficient change of direction deduction does not apply to NCAA. That's just in our USAG rules. The element values that are different are all listed. So for the sake of time, I am not going to go through those. This one is important. They get a special bonus of +1 if they have the same bar release element or any E release element. And we'll see this quite a bit. So that is all we have in terms of the slides. And so I'm going to go to the videos, and we're going to do 5 videos. We're going to start with number 2. I ended up having a 955 on this routine. So she has all of her special requirements. Her bonus combinations are a CD for the giant half to the Tkachev. So that's +1. She gets another +1. You see it in green because she has a same bar release. And then, of course, she's going to get her D bonus as well. And then she has a B to a double back layout, which is an E. So when you combine that, she has 2 Ds, the Tkachev, the overshoot to hand, and then the double lay. So that's 4/10 for DE credit and 2/10 for her CV, both on that one combination. And that's because she gets the same bar release D bonus. Most of her deductions are for body position. Some bent legs on her tap swings as well. So we're going to go to the replay of that. So here you see the first deduction is for the body position. She's piked in her handstand. The same thing, a body position error in her giant half. She begins to bend her knees right away on her downswings and keeps them bent for the Tkachev. She has some flexed feet up in the air there. Little body position deduction there and here. So a half on each of those. Half a tenth on body position again. Half a tenth on her tap swing for bent knees. You can see the bent knees down there, even though it's blurry. And then her deduction for her hop on her dismount. So she has, for her bonus, she has a DD for the giant full to the overshoot to hand. So that's +2 bonus for that. Directly connected to a setup. So it's DC +1. And then her other bonus comes with her dismount, which is an E, the full twisting double A. So she has a total of 3/10 in CV and 4/10 in DE, so 7/10 of bonus. So her start value is a 10. In terms of execution, I'll 0.35. And then she has a minus 1/10 for up to the level. Up to the level, she needs to have a single bar release, minimum of a D, which she does not have, or an E release, which she doesn't have, or 2 D releases, which she doesn't have, or 2 E skills, which she doesn't have. So she loses 1/10 for that. Okay, the first thing you'll see is a body position error in her handstand. We took a 1/2 tenth. 1/2 tenth for the angle of her turn. She's in the 25-degree range, which is a 1/2 to 1/10. We took a 1/2. Her body direction, her legs are apart, body position error there for a 1/2. And there you'll see what we're talking about. She doesn't complete her rotation. She's very close to the bar. And then a 1/2 tenth for her body position in her arms. And then we got 1/2 to 1 for the body position and opening of her dismount. We'll now go to number 4.
Now on the floor for Ohio State, in the low.
We had a score of 9.8. To me, this is, of the routines we've seen so far, this is the nicest routine for her swing and her fluidity. She's just a very smooth swinging gymnast and has nice body positions in just about everything she does. So for her bonus, we have a DD +2. So there's a giant full to Ginger. And that's a DD +2. Plus she gets another 1/10 bonus because it's a single bar release. She goes immediately into an overshoot at C value. So she has a DC +1. And then at the end, she does a giant full to a double back. So she gets a DC +1. She does not get the D bonus again for the giant full because she already did one of those. But she's fine in terms of her bonus. She has 5/10 in CV and 2/10 in D, both for the giant full and the Ginger. And then most of her deductions, unfortunately, were on that landing. They have to take 1/10 on the landing and then a 1/2 because she didn't fully open as well. So now we'll look at the analysis. I stopped it here because of her amplitude on that mount. So few gymnasts actually get any amplitude on that mount. And I just wanted to show you what it looked like when it's done very nicely. Her giant full. Her Ginger was so nice. Her legs are together. That's something that's kind of unusual. And then here she has a little bit of a loose body position. She's within 15 degrees for her turn, and that puts her into the period of no deduction. And just had her chest down and not open, and then the hop on the landing. All right, so now we will do number 5. So we had a 9.8 score. So we have for her bonus, we have a D for her Shaposhnikova into an immediate overshoot to hand. And that's DD +2. Then our dismounts combination is a giant full D to a double back pike C, so that's +1. So she has 3/10 in CV and 3/10 in D, so she has 6/10 with a 10-0 start value. And just like the other gymnast, most of her deductions come on her dismount, and on her one handstand, we had a 1/2 a tenth for her body position. She was slightly piked. Supply element there. She's hard to tell because of her hair. It's hard to tell about her head position. But here she's got great body position in that, and then she swings all the way back to slightly above horizontal. Horizontal is the requirement, so she does great. Her body position is pretty good. Her head may be a little bit out there, and here she fully rotates in that, as opposed to the other gymnasts that we saw that did not do that. There you saw her body position had been a little piked in her handstand. Her position there is, in terms of degree, is fine. She was within 14 degrees. Then she has the 10th dismount landing, and her chest was down just slightly. Okay, and number 6 is our last bar routine. The score here on this is going to be a 9.7 or a 9.75. The bonus that she has is her giant full to the Ginger again, and that's a DD +2 and a +1. My advice to you is if you're ever short a 10th, is just to go back and look and see if there's that single bar release, because it's easy to forget that that gets an additional 1/10 bonus. So if you're at a 9.9, you need to, be sure and check and make sure that she doesn't have that single bar release. Same combination, D into the C, so for a +1, and then she ends with her full twisting double back, which is an E. So she has 4/10 in CV and the 4/10 in D and E credit, and then that gives her a 10.0 start value. The execution is going to be 2.5 to 3/10. There's a 1/2 a tenth deduction for the leg position and the amplitude on her mount, and particularly because I pointed it out on the second or the gymnast before her, how her amplitude was so good. This gymnast's feet just barely got over, and then she bent her knees a little bit coming on to her mount. And then body position deductions for the most part, or everything else. And then she didn't, of course, this routine was obviously before the rule came in about bringing your heels together, or she probably would have brought her heels together. So we'll take a look at that in more detail here. Watch her amplitude in her legs there, because it's not nearly as nice. And then we body position error with the piking. Body position error there. She bends her knees as she's coming down and on her downswing. She meets the technical requirement there for no deduction for the amplitude. It just needs to be horizontal or above. Body position pike there. She's got some bent knees in her tap swings, and there she doesn't bring her heels together.